Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. So I recently got good news. In fact, right here it says good news. Your loan request has been approved. Loan details, $280,000, loan type HELOC, right? And if you've been following this channel, you know that I paid off my mortgage about, I think, has it been 2 months already? I think a little over 2 months, and I decided, okay, now is the time to get a home equity line of credit. And I've actually had three home equity lines of credit. So when I first moved into my home, I got a like 1 month after I moved in, I think I got a $15,000 home equity line of credit, and I was like so excited. It's like 15,000, that's so much, right? And then after that, I got a $50,000 home equity line of credit 1 year later, and then now that my mortgage is paid off, I have a $280,000 home equity line of credit, and I'm pretty sure by next year I could probably get a bigger one, right? So again, why did I decide that I need a home equity line of credit, and how do you get credit? What is the secret to it? Okay, so I'm going to just show you my secret formula, quote formula, of when I think is the best time to get credit. And I'm going to tell you something that I learned from wise people who taught credit to me, right? Wise people. Okay. So here's this quote secret. The secret. And I say this in every single velocity banking video when it comes to getting lines of credit, because I know there are some of you out there who are like, well, if I just had a line of credit available, then I could do this, but not everybody has a line of credit available. And I'm trying to tell you that there's a certain mindset that have to have in order to get all this credit, right? And I know there are people who have more than me, right? I mean, I looked up Credit Plug. I don't know if you know who he is. I think he said he has over $2 million in lines of credit, right? So eventually I will get there, but hey, baby steps. $280,000, that's a baby step, right? So I'm going to tell you the secret, and you have to memorize this, right? Banks don't lend money to people who need it. They don't lend money to people who need it. You see, have you ever had a friend who said, "Oh my goodness, please lend me money because I need it," and then you lost it? That's why banks are in business, and that's why you're frustrated and didn't get your money back when you have someone, whether it's a friend or a family member. Hey, I quote lent out $2,000 to someone who needed it, and I haven't gotten paid back in 3 years. Now, $2,000 is chunk change at my level, but it's still $2,000, right? But once I understood, oh, okay, I understand why they act this way, probably because they have all the data to know when they're going to get burned or not. And because I'm just a little old individual who was just a little naive and lent $2,000, which at that time was, some good money, who to someone who said, "Hey, I need that money. That's why I lost it." And so, if you want access to capital, first of all, don't never lie to a bank. I never lie to a bank, right? I'm always honest, because you ever see those stories on the news where it's like some guy lied on his credit card application? Like he said he made $80,000, and then now he's like in federal pound me in the A prison. You ever see that? I'm not going there just because I wanted credit and I had to lie to get it. Don't ever lie, right? But here's the other secret too. Banks don't lend money to people who need it. Okay? And so if you know this secret, it's almost like an antidote to segregation of income and being in debt, because if you have good income and good credit and you apply velocity banking, that's like you're going to be in good credit forever. You know what I'm saying? Well, not, I can't guarantee that, but you're not going to be in a situation where people have like 20 debts and engage in segregation of income because you're applying all of your paycheck into those lines of credit. And so if you take a look here, this is a list of all the lines of credit that I have. So I used to have a $50,000 home equity line of credit. It's going to be retired soon. And now the big dog of credit that I have is at home equity at 8.5%, $280,000. So the cool thing is that let's say I have a real estate deal, I don't have to deal with the hard money lender or loan origination fees and all that other nonsense that costs me a ton of money with no value add from the lender, right? Like a lot of times, when you do a real estate deal, it's like, wait a minute, is the lender making more money, or is it, shouldn't I be making more money than the lender or the real estate agent? And so a lot of times what happens is people do a lot of crappy deals. And I remember watching one YouTuber's channel about how he had 27 rental properties, and per each rental property was like 20 grand of equity. It's like, dude, if you sell that property, real estate agent's probably going to make more money than you, right? And you never want to put yourself in that situation. So this is the granddaddy of all the credit that I have. I got personal credit cards, I got business credit cards, personal credit cards, personal lines of credit. Bam, 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 bam. I got some more business credit cards. I'm gonna tell you what's a little stain I feel in my credit portfolio, quote portfolio. This itty bitty $800 personal line of credit that I decided to get like 2 months ago. And it's like, with this personal line of credit, I can't even withdraw money after 9 p.m. Eastern. So I was like, ugh, I'm so, I don't want to say ashamed, but it's like, again, I'm a credit connoisseur. You got see, here's the thing with like banks and credit unions. You kind of have to be like a person who's like a foodie, but is willing to go into restaurants that have like no Yelp or Google reviews. You know what I mean? Like, same thing with credit products and banks and credit unions. So a lot of people, they're always asking like, oh, which bank or credit union should I use? And because banks and credit unions always change up their offerings every 6 months to a year, the advice that I give you, oh man, this card is so fantastic, could absolutely be outdated within a couple of months, right? But as a fellow credit connoisseur, what you should be doing is be looking into the offers that banks and credit unions make, because they want to lend to everybody, right? You ever notice how much money they spend on advertisements just to get their name known? And then what they do is, because they have a lot of people who try to commit fraud on their applications. That's where the automated system comes in. It's like, hey, no liars here, and then we only do underwriting for people who can make us money. But so many people want to rip off the banks, right? And I get it. I get it. You don't want to deal with the Wells Fargo where they open up savings accounts and you don't know what you're dealing with. But the thing is that they need to make a little bit of money too, and because they're smart, they know how to make a lot of money, right? And that's the secret that you have to know, is that they don't lend money to people who need it. And so, bam, 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 bam. Every time I woke up, and I checked my pulse, and I don't ask myself this every single day, but I almost always do. Do I need money today? And if the answer is yes, don't apply. Like, do not apply for any sort of credit, because it's a waste of time. But if I don't need money, that's when I do apply. And here's the thing: um, I don't score 100% of my shots, right? So every 2 to 3 months, I try to increase my credit limits with like soft pulls if the credit card issuer does allow that. But I get rejected all the time. But hey, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? So we got to be a little bit considerate about that. But take a look at this. So you sum it all up, right? You sum it all up, and then wablam, that's $516,000 in lines of credit, the total credit limits that I have. And so now, again, why do we need credit? Is because, one, it's easy to manage your cash flow. So if you blow out, let's say, a roof or air conditioner, you got your business credit card, 24 grand, and then you just do velocity banking on that sucker. So even if, let's say, I don't know, you have something that costs you like $10,000, it's not going to be a big deal, right? Or at least for me, it isn't. But for most real estate investors, that couple $100 is a big deal, because they're involved in what we call segregation of income. And I got to make another video about that, right? But that's why one of the reasons why we build so much credit is so that if we have cash flow crunches, that's absolutely no problem. Okay. And the second reason why we build credit is easy access to opportunities, right? So let's say I have a deal that will cost me, I don't know, let's say uh, uh, $250,000, right? $250,000. And so if I, buy a property outright, $250,000, and I'm not going to say that I'm going to do that, but let's say I did $250,000, but the upside potential was $450,000 or $500,000, because it's such in a good neighborhood, and all I need to do is $30,000 of repairs to a house. Oh man, like I'm gonna now I'll be willing to pay a little bit of interest for easy access to money for opportunities, right? Because for the average person, how hard is it for them to save $516,000 for easy access to money? It's incredibly hard, which is why building credit is incredibly important. But you have to think of it as a tool and actually use it, and not just as a trophy, right? That's really important to understand as well. And understand that you're also going to pay a little bit of interest, but if we use it effectively like any other tool, right, we're not going to have pay as much as other people, like, your traditional landlord when it comes to an 8% investment mortgage. Now the secret, again, I always got it when I didn't need it, and sometimes even when I applied when I didn't need it, I got rejected, right? But the most important thing is I never applied when I needed it. I never applied. Okay. And then once you understand that principle, it's pretty easy, right, to get lines of credit. Now, the other thing too is, hey, if you want to know more about credit, why not take classes on it? And that's what Renatus offers. So this is kind of a plug for Renatus too. But so many people are like opposed to learning about understanding credit, and the way that they treat it is like an SAT score. I remember like when I was like in my early adulthood, and I was so scared to talk about credit because people made it seem like, oh my goodness, the higher credit score you have, it's an SAT score, and it determines what what happens to you for the rest of your life. And you know what's crazy? I never knew that credit was about borrowing money until like I took Renata's courses. I actually never knew. And so I was like, whoa, credit is about borrowing money? I just thought it was about a score, right? So that's just my background. And I remember the first time I got a personal credit card of like $1,000. And then I remember my mindset at the time was like, if I ask for a credit limit increase, I'm gonna feel greedy, right? You ever have thoughts like that, or like, oh, I'm just not worthy of a credit limit increase, or the banks are thinking I'm gonna scam them if I ask for a credit limit increase. And now I'm just like, no, 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 I'm doing them a favor by getting that credit limit increase. That's literally what I think, and that's why I have all this credit. And eventually, who knows? Maybe give me a couple years time, I'll probably build more of that business credit and probably have a better home equity line of credit, and reach credit limit, not credit limit, credit plugs credit limit. I think right now he has over 2 million. I don't know what the exact number he has right now, but every single day he always posts like a new credit card. And I think I actually took one of his suggestions, and I think I got a 24 grand credit card from one of the credit unions he talked about. And then when I remember when I applied, I talked to the underwriting lady, and she was like, "How did you find out about us?" "Oh yeah, that YouTuber got credit plug." And she was like, "Oh, he disseminates wrong information, and that's why we're all, our application log is backed up." And then I was like, "Oh, okay, no worries." And then next day, I got approved for a 24 grand credit card. Again, I don't lie; I just tell people the truth. So even though the lady was pissed off that so many, let's say, bad applicants had applied to the credit union that Credit Plug had talked about, I got a 24 grand credit card from it. But this is not a credit union or credit or bank recommendation service, so I won't tell you which bank it's with. But yeah, so that's me just rambling on about how easy you guys, I'm sorry, how easy it was, at least for me, to get credit, because again, I know the secret, which is that banks don't lend money to people who need it. All right, well, that's it for today. So maybe you guys want to type in the comments, or maybe not. I don't know. People are really strange when it comes to finances, right? Like they don't want to talk about with their friends or neighbors or family. Like, oh, it's too private. And yet I get random people's like email, like in email, their budgets and all their personal financial information. Like, dude, I'm a random stranger to you on the internet. Yet you're willing to tell a random stranger that you're completely broke, but when you're in front of your friends and family, oh, everything's okay. Oh, my life is fine, right? Funny how that works. So if you want to type in your credit limits, how much you have in total, hey, maybe you have more than me. Kudos to you if you do, right? I'm a little bit new to this credit game as well. But yeah, that's it for today. So have a great day, and we'll speak on the next video.